It's a risk I'm willing to take. I think it helps the customer make a decision so much easier.
Well, if you're getting 9 out of 10 jobs, I think it's working for you. So today we are here with Sara Moore. She is a balloon artist, entrepreneur, marketing manager, wife, and mom from Wisconsin. And actually, in your bio here, you're also a quilter, and you've got a knack for turning creativity into cash. Does that sound about right?
That is right. That is right. Taking lots of little pieces and bringing them together, balloons, quilting, all of those things.
Fun fact, my wife actually just started quilting. Her best friend started quilting like maybe less than a year ago, and she quilted her first blanket probably like 3 or 4 months ago. So
I didn't know that.
Awesome.
When I saw that in your bio, I was like, oh, that is a fun fact. That's great. Have you been quilting for a long time?
I actually just started quilting over the past 2 years, but fun fact, once you start, it's hard to stop. I actually made 13 quilts last year.
Wow.
I make them for teachers, friends. I donate them. It's just fun. Something about the colors, the fabrics, the design. It's really a great hobby, and it really spreads joy to people in a completely different way. So I'm a big fan of quilting.
That's
how long does it take you to usually make one quilt?
I usually can make a quilt in about 2 weeks, but that's just doing it on the weekends. I use pre-cuts, which is fun. So it's fabric that comes pre-cut, and then you kind of come up with your pattern and put it together. It's very similar to balloons if you think about it. You get all your different colors and you decide how you want to put them together. I can see why I love both, because the planning process is very similar.
Oh, I never thought about it that way. Quilting scares me, to be honest.
Once you try it, it's very relaxing and very fun. And when you see the finished product, it's just, it's a great feeling.
Do you consider yourself like a DIY mom? Like you love to do anything crafty and just kind of do it yourself?
I do. I like to figure things out myself. My friends are like, of course, Sarah's going to try to do that. Or of course, Sarah's going to do that. She can figure it out, find a video. I've always been creative. I'm always the one who wants to volunteer to do something, and like making t-shirt quilts right now. I want a t-shirt press. I want to make t-shirts for people. Like I get my mind on something and I just can't stop. So anything revolved around the creative process. Yes, I am that mom that raises my hand first. So
cool. That's good.
Funny.
Yeah.
So before we get started and getting into kind of like the nitty gritty of the conversation that we want to have with you today, because you do have a lot of experience in marketing, in balloons, and just some very interesting perspectives, I think, that you can share with us. We do want to play a quick little game with you on how well you know the Tuftex colors. So
we went ahead and just picked a certain tone in their shades. So we want to see how well you know Tuftex blue tones. So there are a few. I'm going to say a little bit more than 10. I won't give you the exact number. But you can go ahead and name them, and then we'll find out how many you know. Okay?
Okay. So you want me to start?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you can name...
I'm going to consider this blue because I use it as a blue. I'm going to say Fog.
Okay.
Monet.
Okay.
Blue. Standard blue.
Mm-hmm.
Slate blue.
Uh-huh.
Teal.
Okay.
Navel.
Okay.
Midnight. This one with midnight. It has the shimmer. I love it. I use it all the time.
Uh-huh.
Perry.
Okay.
Sea glass.
Okay.
Am I close?
You got one, 2, 3.
There's 7 more, or sorry, 8 more on our list.
It was like a lot of colors.
There's quite a few, but you've already gotten a good chunk.
You got like half of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel like I could do better. Deep teal, does that fall in the blue family?
There is a metallic teal. There's a metallic teal, but that leads in a little bit more green, but
There's more of the darker shades. There's also one that you already said that's very similar in the name.
Navy with navel, right?
All right. Yep.
I use navel a lot, so I was heir to that one.
So you did get, do you want to try for the last ones or do you want me to tell you what's left?
Oh, I think you should tell me.
Okay. It is kind of hard because there are some tones that people would consider like more in like the green family.
Yeah.
So like, this is what I was kind of going over before we started talking is, so for Andrew, like he considers like sea glass to be part of the blue family. And he kind of cut off like teal as more like the green tone, but you said teal. Sure. So
we gave you
that one. That one counts. So the other ones on here are metallic seafoam, turquoise, pearl sky blue, baby blue, Georgia blue, which is actually their newer color, and then metallic blue and crystal sapphire blue. So yeah, but you did really well.
Just ordered.
How many did we get
I
correct?
ordered some Georgia blue too, and I did not think of that one.
You got 10 right, so you did really good.
Okay. And we actually did ask for about 10, so you got 10 colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, cool. Actually, so what is your favorite color? Does it happen
lace.
To be a blue? Lace?
No, lace? It's not. So I use lace. Like when in doubt, I add lace, and it's the best accent complement. I use it as an alternative white. My second favorite, which I don't know if it's the area I live in, but I use a lot of pink. So I use Tuftex hot pink all the time. I think from a pink perspective, their hot pink is by far the best. But from an everyday, I always am well stocked on lace.
That's cool. We used that a lot last year for all of our floral compliments, ironically.
Oh, for our conventions that we attended.
Yeah.
I have a question to start it off.
Oh.
So
raise your hand.
I know Andrew, you've talked to Andrew a little bit more than like you and I have talked, and he is very familiar with what you do. But for myself and for those of the people that are listening and aren't aware of who you are, can you tell us what it is that you do and why it is that you got started?
Sure. My daughter, Ruby, graduated from high school in May of 2022. And we hosted a huge grad party for her. And I ordered a balloon kit online, had never blown up a balloon in my life. And I completely failed. Honestly, I ran out of time. I didn't understand it, but there was nobody that I could have hired to do it for me. And so then it was like, ding, ding, ding. Why is nobody filling this niche? Like, it wasn't going to be thousands of balloons, but it was that one step above the person who doesn't want to do it themselves. I was making food, cleaning my house, making photo boards. The balloons got pushed to the very end. And so I was like, oh my gosh, there's something here. And I stewed on it for about 6 months. And then I was sitting at the kitchen table with my daughter and I'm like, Ruby, let's open a balloon business. We need to do balloon decor in our community. Nobody is doing this niche, which is home parties, small garlands, grab and go. It's again, a step above the people that just don't want to try to do it themselves. And so in spring of 2023, we launched Border Balloons. We are right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So that's how my daughter came up with our name. And we serve probably a 200-mile radius. And we could probably go further. And it's just taken off. The grad parties, birthday parties, showers, like lots of home-based events. But it all started because we didn't have balloons at her grad party, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So that's how we started. So that is a niche, and we own that niche. Yeah.
So what are you doing during the day before making the balloons? During the week? Because you do a lot of things.
I do. My plate is full. I always say I love busy, and I mean busy in a positive way, like busy, positive energy. I actually have a full-time marketing job for a fabric company. So I manage social media, email marketing strategies, YouTube. It's a primarily online business that I work for. And I've done that for over 20 years. So I've been in sales and marketing my entire life. I understand customers and customer service. And I also understand just how to show up as a business owner. So I think having that background has made the move to running my own businesses much smoother. And that's really why I'm doing this and why I think I can balance both because I just have a ton of experience in marketing and sales. And I think that is the barrier for other people who want it, thinking about it, but have not been able to get started. I had those skills that helped me but like I was able to get started probably a little faster.
I feel like
Yes. So I do have a full-time job though. Yes.
so you would say that like your experience in marketing is something that helped you at least with like your balloon business take that leap and say like I'm going to do it. Where I would say like most people are kind of like scared to take that jump, but
Yes.
your what is it? Your skills,
Experience.
experience in marketing
Yeah.
is what kind of you said, let's just go for it.
Yeah, it removes a lot of barriers. Like I was very confident running social media pages, Facebook pages, Instagram accounts. I knew how to set up email lists. I knew how to make compelling marketing to market to my area. So I had all those skills. I can confidently graphic design. I can make my own business cards. I think there's a lot of people who have a desire to create balloon decor and they're very talented. They know how to put colors together, they know how to assemble garlands, they have practiced. It's the business side that's maybe slowing them down or figuring out how to generate business. For me, I had to teach myself how to do balloons, but I was able to generate the business interest and just I had that business acumen to get going on that side. I knew how to set up an LLC. I knew how to set up a payment structure. I had all those in my toolbox. And I spend a lot of time in Facebook groups helping others because it feels like that toolbox. I don't need to teach people how to make balloon garlands or arches. I need to help them on the business side. They're not asking me how to make balloons as much. So I get the business questions.
So that's interesting because that pretty much means you can help anybody in a creative business, no matter what. It doesn't have
Yes,
to be balloons. Kind of get to where they get.
exactly.
But I agree because that's a great point. There's a lot of balloon artists who are very talented, who know how to pick up the skills, who learn very quickly, and like you said, put colors together and this and that. But it's the business side of what you just mentioned, setting up the LLC, the business cards, how to do your taxes, how to present your business to the world, and then market it, ultimately and get it out. But you decided to do balloons and you could have gotten into anything. Were there any balloon artists or anybody who like inspired you into move into this industry? Like,
I
why did you decide to even try to make your own garland, before starting your own business?
Yeah, I think it was the idea that I did see a few other balloon artists. Like it was probably on Instagram, something about just being in a maker space because I'm in the quilting space. I'm also an owner of a yard greeting company, and I was having yard greeting customers. So I rent yard greetings. If you've seen those, they'd say, "Hey, do you know how to do balloons? Or do you do balloons too? Or who do you know that does balloons?" Well, ultimately, it all pointed back to me because I was like, "Well, do you know what? I am going to fill that need. I would rather say yes than turn it away." And then thankfully, again, with social media, I started following other balloon artists. I was just so intrigued by the business and I really started teaching myself. But the best thing you can do is follow artists that have maybe a style that you find appealing or a similar style. I am definitely not a twister. I don't make animals. I don't even make flowers. I make very, very aesthetically pleasing garlands. And I just own that. I will never make an animal. I don't know how, but I follow people that are doing similar work to me. And again, that's a niche here. So I'm going to own that part of it. I don't want to try to do things that are not my comfort level. I would rather stick to what I can do really well and really efficiently. Also, because I don't do this full time, I'm not taking installs that take 6, 8, 10, 12 hours. Most of my installs are completed in 90 minutes or less. Again, that's a niche. It's not for everyone, but for me, time is really my currency and I need to be very efficient and I'm also very upfront. I'm able to prep ahead of time. I really recommend business owners to find your rhythm and your sweet spot. For me, I have like a rhythm of my week. When do I order? When do I prep? How do I prepare? And that makes time management so much easier. And I really help people like It's really easy to overthink things, but if you can kind of get in a rhythm of your own business, you will feel a little less scrambled. I always try to show up calm. And I think when you show up calm in front of a customer, they're going to recommend you and they're going to invite you back.
What is a typical day in the life of Sara? Since it seems like you're very well organized. So walk us through like your typical day.
Sounds like you have to be if you're going to balance everything that you're doing.
I am. Well, and I should say, in addition to having my daughter who's 20 and my business partner, I have a 7-year-old son named Gus. So I am still operating a very busy family life, but I always kind of reset myself on Sundays. I still use a paper desk calendar. Call me crazy. My business calendar is oversized, large desk calendar. I can write and it's very visual. At any time, I can walk by my workspace and see my calendar. And that's like this, visually, I can see what does the rhythm of my week have to be. I'll be honest, there's some weeks I'm not doing balloon work. And that might be when I'm cleaning my storage space, reorganizing my balloons, seeing where I need to have inventory. But on weeks that I'm preparing, I'm seeing, has my customer paid? Is there any follow-up communication? And then I start thinking about like, what do I need to do each day this week on Sunday to make sure that by the weekend I'm prepared? And I often do midweek deliveries in the evening. My husband's my business partner as well. He'll make deliveries during the week while I'm working my day job. But on Sunday night, I look at that calendar and I know exactly what's coming. And that's how I plan out my week. To be perfectly honest, before meeting with you today, I've already done 2 deliveries and 2 installs, but I planned my day and I'm going to do one more this evening. But I had everything done ahead of time. So I can sit here and be fully focused because I knew the rhythm of my day. I knew where I had to be. I knew kind of when my deadlines were. And you have to have great time management.
What time is it?
It's really easy to be inefficient.
What time is it in Wisconsin right now?
It is 1:25 Central Time.
And you've already done
afternoon.
2 deliveries and prepped for a podcast.
Yes, I have. And my friends would not expect anything different from me. It's truly who I am.
Side note, we have our own Gus. So
do you?
When you mentioned your son's name is Gus, I was like, we have a Gus too.
What do your, since your daughter works with you, what does she kind of think about being in this space? I think knowing like that she has you as a great resource to, if she wanted to start her own business or really have that knowledge for coming from you, what does she kind of think about the balloon industry? And does she focus more on it, or how does that kind of work for you?
She's a junior in college, and I always just hope to be a great role model for her. I entered entrepreneurship very late in life, but I feel like what better gift could I give her than starting entrepreneurship as a 20-year-old woman? So again, she's a college student right now, but she's actually done balloon work at her university. She's networked in her community. She's a couple hours away when she's at school. But I take her along every step of the way. I mean, she named our business Border Balloons. She is part of marketing and talking about it. And in the summer, we're working side by side. And moms out there, when you're raising daughters, if you can work alongside of your daughter, I mean, we have the best time. And I just can't think of anything better in the world than spending a Saturday morning with my daughter, delivering all this fun. We did a wedding together a few weeks ago. And at the end, we always take a little selfie. And I'm like, how lucky am I to be with my daughter and celebrating really these awesome deliveries that we're doing. And she's a business major. And you know what? This is just the foundation of all the cool things she's going to do, for the rest of her life. So it's pretty incredible.
Is your son, does he help you blow up balloons? I know he's a lot younger, but is he involved in any way?
You know what? He is patient. And he spends a lot of time in the car with us. What I also think about with my niche business is all family members welcome. He comes to installs. He comes to consultations. He's by my side. But you know what? He is so well-versed and so great, smiling, communicating with adults. He loves it. And he enjoys the ride. It is like a fun house here some days. Like literally there were hundreds of balloons in my basement earlier, and what 7-year-old doesn't think that that's great?
Yeah.
So we are definitely the fun house.
How does Border Balloons differentiate itself from other balloon businesses? So like, I know you're kind of sticking to a niche you give yourself a time frame, and there are certain jobs
Yeah,
maybe that you do or don't take. So, like, what are those jobs? And it sounds like you do have a specialty niche that you want to stick
I
to.
do. Yeah, I mean, I think I know what I'm doing that differentiates myself is I help the customer make decisions, which might seem a little counterintuitive. I would say 9 out of 10 customers I work with just want me to help them get their idea brought to life. They're not prescriptive, they want recommendations. I'm a very confident designer where I'm like, "I would recommend you go with these colors," or "Have you thought of this?" I also provide free mock-ups to my customers because when you see a visual, you become emotionally connected with the project. And being emotionally connected, I'm really winning 9 out of 10 jobs I'm bidding. So I think they feel confident with me. I'm very easy to work with. But remember, I have 20 years of sales and customer experience with my marketing job. So for me, like somebody calls and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so last minute. Can you help me?" I immediately put them at ease. And I always tell somebody when you're starting, start with your school colors for inventory. I keep a lot of inventory in stock, and LA Balloons, I probably order like every other day too. But you can call me today and I could probably deliver a job for you tomorrow. So short lead time is probably the third part of that stool. So it's customer service, confident designs, and I don't care if you forgot to call me and you're calling me today. I'm going to help you. So that short lead time, that's not always available from other businesses, but I love saving the day and I'll do it.
Are there ever any sort of like job, what is it? Not offers, but like, has anybody ever approached you and you've had to turn them away because you have such a busy schedule? Or you just
Yep.
are always kind of like, I will help you, like I got it.
It's hard for me to say no. I mean, that is the hardest thing as an entrepreneur, but my priority is my family and my day job. Like that is a big thing. Like this truly started as, helping people out. I do have to say no once in a while, or I have to make suggestions like, are you willing to pick these balloons up yourself? Or are you willing to let me install a couple days early? Can I have access to your location on a different day? Because I use quality supplies, we all know, like you can set up a couple days early, which sometimes the customer doesn't realize that. So I'm always educating them. I'm using quality supplies, quality techniques. I'm unavailable Wednesday, but if I can come Sunday, let's do this. And honestly, that's been a great compromise. But I'm so grateful for the amount of business we've had so early in our career. It doesn't happen very often. And I feel like even if I do have to say no, oftentimes those people have come back for a different experience, a different job. So it's a balance. But my husband says I say no to anybody, but it does happen once in a while. So,
I want to circle back to how you mentioned that you do free mock-ups. What would
yep.
you say to those who say, I don't do that? And oftentimes they make this mock-up, they spend so much time doing it, and they turn around, show the mock-up to a different decorator and say, hey, can you do
Yep.
this for X price? So you're the one who did all the work. That's your design idea. That was your creativity. And, obviously you can't really help if someone were to do
Yeah.
that. But what would you say to those people?
You know, I I can't speak for everybody because in my market, I don't have much competition. So that doesn't happen a lot. But for me, I enjoy the design process. And I always know if I'm awarded that job, I'm a step ahead because I already have a roadmap to make it. Yes, there is risk, but I'm very efficient. I have done many mock-ups. I do most mock-ups in 15 minutes or less. I use templates. I have standard layouts I use. I'm very efficient. But again, I have those computer and design skills because of my background. So I think that has made it something that I actually enjoy doing it. I attach the price to it. I attach my contractual language to it. So it serves multi-purpose. Yes, it has happened to me. I have seen some of my designs show up by other artists, but it's rare. It's rare in our market, but I do think I have an advantage because I don't have a lot of competition. But I use Canva Pro. I pre-purchased a bunch of assets from an Etsy designer, like for the balloons, and I use them over and over again. So I have found efficient ways to make mock-ups, and it's a risk I'm willing to take. I think it helps the customer make a decision so much easier.
Well, if you're getting 9 out of 10 jobs, I think it's working for you. So just to kind of put people at ease, but I think I'm on your side where, like, if you can provide that visual, they are more likely to move forward with you. And although there is a risk,
Yes.
you're the one who did that work. And like, at the very least, they can recognize that you did. And you're one step closer to closing that deal. And nothing's 100%, but 9 out of 10 ain't bad, right?
What is your process like? I know we haven't touched too much on like the Facebook group that you have, but because that's its own like business, right? So what is the process for someone to kind of reach out to you and get that sort of service versus someone hiring you to do like a balloon job?
So I would consider myself a volunteer on a Facebook group called Balloon Decorations Event Styling Support Group. It's a very beginner focused Facebook page. And what I do is when I complete a job for border balloons, I do a recap for that audience. So what I do is I'm like, hey guys, here's the recipe I used. Here are the colors I used. Here's the mock-up. Here's the final. And here are some things I learned. So I use all of my completed work as teaching moments for this beginner group. And then following that, I get a lot of people reaching out to me. So I have built things like a balloon math guide that I give away for free. So like the most common question I see is, how do I know how many balloons I need? So I took the 10 most common requests that I get, and I did a math worksheet that people can download and use for ordering. I also created a basics of making a garland. I also created a few videos of like what's in my bag. So once I interact with somebody on this Facebook group, which has over 40,000 beginners that I, again, get these recipes from me. And there's about 5 of us that contribute to the page, all different aspects of balloon decor. And we all bring different talents. Like for me, it's like the recipe and the recap. They can reach out to me and then I direct them to all my free downloads. I will be having a more fully baked course. What I'm calling is like fast track to balloons, because that's where people start. They want to make the balloons, but the business side, it's like the fast track to their business. That's what's coming for my audience in 2025 is like that Balloon 101, download it. It has everything you need from starting your LLC to establishing your pricing and how you get your first paid job. So that's what's next. But for right now, I am fielding questions and looking for what do people ask about most and what can I help them with? And again, 9 times out of 10, it's like, I know how to make balloons. I don't know how to make this a business.
And I think Karen had a question.
I did. So it seems like nowadays, people are putting out all these resources and they have all these templates and they're charging, whatever price they want. What makes you say like, I'm going to give this to you guys for free versus charging someone, whether it's $5 or $100 to have that session? So what is the reason, I guess, behind that?
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I follow a lot of business coaches, and we are in this era, and it's kind of a buzzword of digital marketing, digital classes. But right now, because I've only been in the balloon industry since 2022, but I've been, again, a marketer for many years, I'm just trying to build trust and relationships with people right now. For me, the community support is how I got started. So I'm trying to contribute back to the community. I would say as I grow my arsenal of what I can help people with, maybe that will change. But right now, I want to keep answering questions, helping people. It helps me. And I've built these guides and it's rinse and repeat. I want people to use them. I want to help people get started. Again, I'm not filming videos on how to construct balloons. I'm helping with the business tools. So that is, and there's a lot of people that do this, but that shows me that there is a need. With competition comes demand, and we need more resources for people who want to start businesses.
So it's funny. I remember I was looking back at our emails yesterday, and when I checked your Facebook group out, I think you're at like 24,000 or something like that. And only a few weeks later, I looked at it again, and you're over 40,000 in that Facebook group. So one, it sounds like you're actually very good at marketing, okay? But aside from that, I would say that you're actually very good at building a community.
Yeah.
What is the importance of building a community for you and whether it's, attached to your business or not. And for somebody looking to build a community, where do you get started? How do you do it?
It's really in consistency and referrals and recommendations. You can't win the algorithm of Facebook, TikTok, or any of those places. It is truly consistent, consistent, consistent. And once people are belonging to one balloon community, normally there's crossover. I would say Facebook is very unpredictable, and we've had really great growth. What I think keeps people on our page is we post every single day, we post continuously, and we post things that are relevant. We remove anybody selling things. We really try to make everything a teaching moment, and that's what has kept our community healthy. It's enjoyable, you get value from it, and if you're going to have a community, you have to have those guardrails. It's really easy for it to go one way or the other, to feel a little more like a only I'm selling things community versus a let's figure this out together. And I would say our community being a little more beginner focused is also why it has stayed really healthy. There's no magic button to just have a Facebook group with 40,000 people, but you got to keep adding value. And that's what I would say if you were doing anything in social media, your content has to add value for people to stick with you, for people to interact with you, for people to ask questions. It's just got to feel valuable. And that's why my balloon recipes and my like, hey, here's what I started with, here's how I finished. People relate to that. It's usable content.
Can anybody join your group? Like it's just a simple follow?
Yes. Yeah. I started as an early member myself, and then I became one of the members that's running the group. So we want people to join our group. It's free to join. As long as, again, your intent isn't to sell your service, we're teaching and learning from each other. But we are about 40,000 members strong. One of the other members is from the UK, which I think is interesting. So she's on the other side of the pond, you would say. I'm on the US side. And then we have a few admins. And it was an accidental meeting, an accidental start, and it's just really grown. And that's truly, this group is where I hear, what do people need help with? People are posting questions every day. So that has said, oh, people need balloon math. They need to know how many balloons to buy. That came from questions we were getting in our Facebook group. I challenge anybody, if you are a member of community or if you run a community, listen to what people are asking, and then you will know how you need to serve them. It's people are asking for help, and they're very specific.
How would you differentiate what it is that works better in terms of social media? So it looks like for Instagram, everybody's just posting pictures, posting their work. And Facebook has been so successful for you. And it seems like nowadays, not a lot of people actually use Facebook for that, to promote or for anything like that. So what do you feel is you kind of get from each social, the platform?
I like Facebook because in my Facebook groups that I belong to, whether it's the one I run or I actually belong to a few balloon groups myself, you can go in that page and you can search by color. You can search by technique. It becomes honestly like a mini Google resource. Facebook is awesome for that. It's really like sometimes I'm trying to decide between two colors and I will put them in the search bar and I will find examples of those colors. So Facebook, I think, does a great job from a searchability and a reference point. If you belong to a group, look for the little search button on the top and search within your group, especially if you found things. So for me, it's a learning resource. I love Instagram for inspiration. I search it myself for inspiration, and that's where I post a lot of my work for generating my local business. Again, it's very much border balloons in my Instagram page. That's where I would say my local community is sharing. I'm tagging people. I'm asking people to tag me. I use Instagram a little more locally and more personally. But for Facebook, that's really where I use the how do I help you run your balloon business side.
I think I need a class on Facebook because I didn't know that you could do that.
I didn't know either. And it's funny. It's like, I remember in high school when Facebook, or was I in high school or college, when it first came out, and thinking I didn't even want to start one. And my best friend convinced me to, and, used it for probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so afterwards, and then kind of fell off of it. But that's actually a really great tip to know that, like, if you're in one of these Facebook groups, you can search within that and use it as like a library or a resource.
Have
Yeah.
you
I'll
made?
tell people to search. Oh, sorry.
No,
I'll
go
tell
ahead.
people to
Go ahead.
search. Yeah. If you search my name in my Facebook group, people can go back and see the different things that I've posted. Or I can say, hey, search Sara Garland, and you'll see the Garland instruction that I posted. Again, use it almost like a search engine, and within a group, then you have a trusted community that you're looking up their information.
Are these tags that you put like on your work, or is it all just kind of no?
It's all very searchable. Yep, it's very searchable. Yes.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Have you made?
Yeah, and you can make. Yeah.
Go ahead. I keep cutting you off.
No, that's okay. Well, and within the group, you can make albums as well, but truly the search functionality gets you really close to what you're looking for.
Have you attended any like balloon events, conventions, or have you met any of the people that actually like do balloons or that you look up to?
I have not yet, but you guys have inspired me. I have definitely followed your journey to different shows. Again, being only a balloon business owner for a couple years, it's definitely on my wish list, but I haven't yet.
Do you have a question?
So for border balloons, I want to circle back because, you talked about your customers. How do you acquire most of your customers for border balloons? Because it sounds like, okay, the Facebook group is the one that has the biggest following, but that's probably not where you're getting customers, I assume? No. Okay.
Correct. I would say the Facebook group is truly the world. We're a community worldwide, no bars, but we're not buying anything from each other. We're helping each other. For running my border balloons business, I would say networking and referrals is really where I'm getting all of my business. Every single job I do usually leads to another job. I would say almost always leads to another job. I also install balloons in several local businesses. I have a lot of monthly contracts with local businesses that get a lot of foot traffic. So they see a display I put up, they grab my card, I get a referral. I also have a ton of repeat customers, considering how short my tenure has been so far. People have ordered stuff from me multiple times, like 4 and 5 times from the same family or the same organization. But when I started to get jobs, I was truly doing free work. The morning we said, hey, we're going to start this balloon business. We did some training, we did some practice. I made a Facebook post and I said, hey, friends and family, I'm giving away 10 balloon garlands. The first 10 people to say yes, I'm bringing it to your house. And that is exactly what I did to get my first paid job. So from that post, I created 10 garlands, I delivered them, and the rest is history. I've never had a lull and I've never had to pay advertising. I've never had to do anything else. It's been all word of mouth and referrals. But I love networking in my community with other business owners and organizations. I also donate probably 2 to 3 items a month to charitable organizations, which they love talking about you. It's a great way to get the word out. And again, for people who are last minute, and there's lots of people, my name is usually at the top of the list because they've said, oh, I've heard you've taken last minute jobs. And that has definitely been a sweet spot for me.
I feel like, and I don't know what your experience is with other decorators. I think a lot of people depend or rely on just putting their portfolio on Instagram or on TikTok or Facebook or whatever the case might be, and they wait for customers to kind of come to them. But it sounds like you went out and like...
Yes. I am out there. I am installing garlands in businesses, especially ones that get a lot of people. I tell people about my business wherever I'm at. If I'm at the grocery store or I'm talking to somebody, I'm always talking about border balloons. And I would say seasons like graduation season were huge for us because we would do a decor at a graduation party, May, June, July, and think about how many people attend that graduation party. From that, we were getting birthday requests and shower requests and wedding requests. And they're like, oh, I saw you at so-and-so's grad party. You got to get yourself out there. And that for us was a pivotal season, graduation season. I would say most of our business that we do in May and June catapults the business for the rest of the year because we get so much exposure.
I think that's really good that you seem like a very efficient and confident person. So I think that's really good because a lot of people are afraid of putting themselves out there. And you seem like you do it all the time. So I think that is really beneficial to yourself and to your business. With all the stuff that you've kind of done do you have a like worst or best experience with like your installations and stuff?
I know you're very organized and you're very prepared, but do you have any stories where it didn't go as planned?
I would say we always have a fear of outdoor installs. I had an install and I am so thankful that we have a couple of college students that help us locally when my daughter's away. And I happened to bring a helper this morning, but it was an outdoor install with a very large display wall. Think of like 4 pallets across, 2 pallets high, tall, ladder. It had rained the night before. It was slick. It was not sturdy. And it turned into a lot of climbing and wiggly knees, and thank goodness I had brought a helper that morning. I don't know that I could have done it without. So it was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, it rained. This is outside. It's taller than I normally do. It was one of those ones that keep you up at night. It all came together beautifully, but it worried me that I wouldn't be able to complete it because anytime you're competing with the weather elements, you can't control that. So again, a little bit of slippery surfaces plus height. I'm super happy with the result, but I was thankful it was a 2-person job and we made it through. But that one I did lose some sleep over.
Do you have any pictures of that, by the way?
Is it what?
Do you have any pictures of that install?
I do, yes.
We have to insert them somewhere on here so everybody can see.
I will send it to you because honestly, it turned out beautifully. You'd never know the stress, but like the bottoms of our pants were like muddy afterward. We were just like sweating. I was like, oh my gosh, how did we pull this off? It was just one of those ones that was a little touch and go. But it all worked out great. So, but there's nothing better. Like, again, we practice. I have really very consistent techniques. And I would say we did our first wedding a few weeks ago, and the one my daughter and I did. And I think part one that made it awesome is I did it with my daughter, Ruby. But part two, like we just walked away and we couldn't stop smiling. Because if you can make the bride's family, like being asked to be part of a wedding was just incredible for us. And I would say balloons and weddings need to be a bigger deal. People don't often realize how elegant you can make balloon decor for a wedding. So that is of recent. I'm just super proud of breaking through and getting a wedding install. And we were super happy with that. And I will share a photo of that too. So.
Cool. I was just about to ask. I'm like, we need another picture of it on here. So, yes, but I do agree. I think it's something that we had talked about maybe in season 1, where a lot of people think maybe just florals for weddings. And now I think balloons and florals, or even just balloons, it's not like your standard columns or just balloon bouquets. Like you can make it very elaborate, and something that seems so simple can turn into something very elegant. So I'm glad you made that point.
Yeah.
Would you consider that your favorite? I feel like it is. Is that your favorite install story to date? Is the one with your daughter in the wedding?
It was. I had one other really positive experience recently. I did an install for an American Heart Association walk. And it was outdoor, but I was so moved by the organization and the people that showed up for this walk. So yes, I was there to install the decor, but to watch the experience of it, I was like, this is why I do this. Like I was with the community. It was a great cause. We could see the impact, the smiles on people's faces. And then there was our work right alongside of this incredible organization. We've actually done several jobs with American Heart Association. And that just happened through referrals. But that one, I just felt like I was part of something greater than just my balloon business. I was just happy to be part of the group that put this event on. So I think when you collaborate with a community, a lot of different vendors, it's really fun.
What is your why? Like, why is it that you do what you do? And is there a quote that you like motivates you and keeps you going?
My why is really the energy that this fuels. I love meeting people. I love the energy I get. And you know what? I'm not ready to settle down. Like, I just think I'm learning something new all the time. It keeps you fresh. It makes life fun. I've just met so many great people. And I also think I'm being a really good role model for my children and other young women. And I think about that all the time. I work with lots of people, and being a role model in business, saying I'm a business owner, I didn't say that for 40 years. And now I'm like, I own my own business. And that's something to be super proud of. And this is an attainable business for so many people. And it could not, and even not just balloons, but the decor industry or any service. you don't need a building. You don't need a loan necessarily. You can actually start something with very low risk, and you can be a business owner. So as an entrepreneur, as a female, as someone raising females, I just really take pride in that.
I think that's a really, really good point. For people who do want to start their own business, it doesn't take a lot of capital.
No.
You can go job to job, purchase the supplies you need, and more than likely,
Yeah.
when you're buying 3 sizes and 100, pieces in a bag of each color, you're probably going to have stuff left over. But you can be profitable very, very quickly,
Exactly.
with very, very little downside risk, as opposed to a lot of other businesses that require, X amount of money to start up. A balloon inflator, a couple bags of balloons, some fishing line if you want to do the monoline style type of garlands. Is that your style, by the way? Do you do the fishing line monoline, or do you do neck to neck, or do you do 260s?
I do a combination of neck to neck and 260s. 260s are my absolute favorite tool of the trade. I use a little bit of fishing line. One of my greatest um, business secrets is, after I complete a job, there's always leftovers. And then I use fishing line and balloon weights to make centerpieces. And then I use those as like little filler jobs. So it's almost like you can take a big job, see what you have left, and smaller centerpieces that I do use fishing line for have been a great extra income off the original job. So that's another sweet spot for me. But otherwise, yeah, neck tying. And my family is often sitting in front of the TV tying 260s into loops.
That's
You
so
can almost
funny.
always find us doing that.
What what is something that you would tell someone that is trying to start a balloon business or really any business? Like, what advice would you give to them?
The day that we decided to start this business, I think what makes it real is if you tell someone. I think so often you hold it close or you hold it in your head. And I have the best group of girlfriends, and we do girls' weekends. Like, we've just been friends since high school. And I said, hey guys, I'm starting a balloon business. I put it in writing, I put it out there. And then I was like, oh my God, I am going to do this. I think the getting started, and you have to get over the fear of saying, I'm going to do this. Get started, find your rhythm. And it doesn't have to be your business doesn't have to look like everyone else's. Like I told you guys, very few of my installs exceed 90 minutes. That's rare. I'm not spending an entire day on location. And you don't have to match my business. Maybe you'd rather do a few jobs that are larger where I do more quantity. I would say my jobs are quality because I use quality supplies and quality techniques, but that's not my niche. But I typed it in a text. I told my friends, we started it and we did it. And I think just proclaiming it is sometimes the hardest part. It's vulnerable, but it's what you have to do. You want to do it.
Is there anything that you would have done differently, knowing what you know now and the experience that you've accumulated? Obviously, when you got started, you had some great experience and some great insight. But like, once you get to doing it, once you start going to do the install, and once you get
Yeah.
to really building your business, what are things you would have changed or done differently, if any?
I think for me, it was that barrier of where do I order my supplies and what brands do you buy? It's really easy to start by buying a kit. And I think I stumbled along trying to figure out how to order. And that's something that I help people with. And that's where that first guide I did was balloon math. Cause I'm like, how many balloons does it take to even do this? That was hard in the beginning. Like, do you buy a kit? Do you buy in bulk? Like, understanding the ordering process. I made so many mistakes my first couple months ordering. Like, my daughter's like, why do we have 4 different brands of navy? Or why do we have 3 different shades of pink and none of them are quite the same? And that wasted money. And I'll be honest, I was frustrated because I spent money on stuff I didn't need. So getting in the rhythm of ordering, and I am a big fan of Tuftex consistently. Like, I always order my hot pink from Tuftex. Always order lace. I always order the blue from Tuftex because then I know they always match. And when I have a residual bag, I can add it to a new. I think the hardest thing is getting your head around how to order. I was filling a cart with so many colors and I didn't even know what I was going to use them for. And that was a big mistake because remember, I wasn't worried about getting business. I had to figure out the balloon side. And I would say inventory management and ordering was hard in the beginning.
How do you deal with I know you said you sent out that text to your friends. And that's the hardest part for some people, is to just kind of put themselves out there. Does the thought ever cross your mind of saying, like, I'm scared of what people will think, I'm scared of, like that kind of fear? Like, how do you get over that? And do you ever come across that thought?
I think sometimes, because I think people are like, gosh, Sarah, you have a full-time job. Why are you doing this? Like, why are you like putting your sneakers on and spending your Saturday morning putting balloons up? But you know what? I deliver so much happiness and I have so much fun. I would say I don't belong to a gym. Like, this is my cardio. And so I don't care. I am at a point in my life where I am leading by example and I'm having a good time. And you know what? It's my choice to continue or stop. Will I do this forever? I don't know. But right now, I'm having fun. Like, my husband and I spent the morning together installing balloons. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
I mean, and we've been married over 20 years, and like that's what we did together this morning, and it was great.
Congratulations.
That's so cute.
And you would consider that a bonding experience also?
It was fun. It was fun. Get a coffee, get in the car, and go. And then when you walk away, you're like, look what we just did. Like, I walked out of the install this morning and I'm like, we crushed that. Like, we were in a groove and it was so much fun. And it's very fulfilling.
Is he very supportive of everything that you do?
Yes, he is the most supportive, and he's kind of head of logistics. He's like, "You're packing the car wrong," or "No, that's too many bags," or "Start here." So he definitely is my structural engineer and logistics 100%, and I couldn't do it without him. And it's awesome to have a supportive partner. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, like sometimes he looks at me and I know he's like, "You are crazy," or "You took one too many jobs this weekend, Sarah." But he's always there, always there with me. So it's awesome.
Shout out to your husband for being very supportive. It seems like the husbands are very supportive in this industry. So
next season, season 3 will be about the
husbands.
Yeah, the husbands behind the balloons.
He would definitely join me. And he's brutally honest if something doesn't look good, if I'm trying something new. And you need that person in your life. Because sometimes you get too close to something and it's nice to say, does this even look good? And have that support in your corner.
Actually, you seem like a very, very positive and motivated and optimistic person, which I appreciate. Do you have a stress relieving activity or thing that you do on a daily, weekly kind of basis? Because you do a lot of things, and I know you're having fun doing this business, but I think it for some people can get overwhelming at times or stressful. So, do you have anything like that for yourself?
Well, I think the stress that I manage, because you just have to think about one thing at a time. And I use that word, find your rhythm. I think if you're trying to think about too many jobs at once or too many things at once, you do create undue stress. I would say I'll bring it back to like my quilting. When I'm quilting, I can't be on my phone. I'm generally not doing other things. I would say sewing and quilting is a stress reliever. We live in a beautiful area of the country out here. So we snowmobile in the winter. I mean, my 7-year-old and I, we spend a lot of time at parks, playgrounds, trails, walking. We live 10 minutes from a lake. I would say the great outdoors here is like the best stress reliever. My friends and I are always like, feels like a patio day today. And then we go hit a patio somewhere at a restaurant. I have great friends. And I think when you have like girl time, it's just getting outdoors generally is probably what I do the most. So, and binging TV shows once in a while, baking shows. I don't know.
What do you watch?
I love watching cooking shows, reality TV shows. I'm rarely into a drama series. I like light TV.
Okay.
It's on Bravo. Yeah, it's just stuff like that that's in the background. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I spend a lot of time in my car, as a lot of artists do, especially here since we have such a huge territory. I'm always like listening to podcasts, listening to books on audio.
It's a lot of good stress relievers. And
no, I mean, I think just being outside, and I think it's different for different people. But it sounds like you definitely have that outlet, and when you do balance so many things, no matter what career or industry you're in, you need something, and it sounds like you have multiple ways to do that.
Yes.
Do you have anything else? Do you have anything for us? I think we've kind of gotten through everything, at least for this this part of the day, I think eventually we'll actually have to do a part 2 with Sara Moore because of all of the things that you do and maybe deep diving more into one aspect of it.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, I just want to give you the opportunity to kind of plug yourself and where can people find you?
Sure.
And how to sign up for your Facebook group and all of that.
Yes. So the best way to find me is, again, if you want to follow just my business and see what I do from a actual designer myself, we are Border Balloons, and you can find us on Instagram and Facebook, Border Balloons. The Facebook group that I contribute to is called Balloon Decorations Event Styling Support Group. And I'm pretty sure we can put that in the show notes. There's a lot of groups out there. Again, this one is just one that's very beginner focused, which was what I love. And I do accept direct messages on Facebook all the time where I can give you all of our free downloads, balloon math, how to make a basic garland, my supply ordering list. I think oftentimes I have a supply list that's everything but the balloons because you have to have a well-equipped bag. So I'm going to help you with all of those things so you're not wasting your time and money. And I'm really just passionate. I want you to get from that idea in your head and get your first paid job. And I will help you get there. And I think that that is a huge barrier. And once you get through that first one, my first paid job was terrible. I was sweating. I was unprepared. I felt very flustered. I didn't feel calm at all. If you can get through that one, you will find your groove. And you'll find the right niche for you. And you don't have to do everything. Again, I have a very specific niche. And I think that is what makes my balloon business very successful.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I think I learned a lot. Did you learn a lot?
I want to be like you when I grow up.
But you did share, I think, a lot of very relevant tips, and your experience definitely shows in what you're doing. And I'm hoping that we can actually apply it, whether it's to ourselves or our other listeners. But I think what you're doing and putting the value out there, like you mentioned very early in the episode, you're doing it, and I think you're doing a great job. And I can see why your group is so successful and why your business is so successful.
Yeah, I think the people around you and your kids are very lucky and fortunate to have you because you do seem like a very positive person, full of knowledge. And just like Andrew said, like just having this conversation with you has inspired me in a personal way. And I'm sure everybody else who listens to it. And you're doing great. And we definitely have to do a part 2 because I know there's a lot more that people will want to learn, just personal business and all of that. So I think you're a great resource to the community, the business, the balloon community, everybody. So keep doing what you're doing.
Before we go, Karen is going to share with us. I don't know if you have the little bag. So we are doing a giveaway. That's not the normal bag, but it'll be fine.
It won't be in this bag, but this is what I had right now.
We are doing a giveaway. So Karen, how do we win this week's giveaway?
So this week's giveaway, we will go ahead and have you follow us on Facebook, and then we will make a post with Sara, and we will go ahead and have the first or one of the persons that comments a podcast. We'll just pick a random winner on there, and they will win all the goodies in the bag.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Sara, for being with us today and joining us on the podcast. We will catch up after this for sure. And then hopefully we'll see you in another episode.
Yay.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks,
Sara.
Bye.
Bye. Be sure to follow us on all our socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Pinterest. Thank you to our sponsor, Tuftex, for supporting the podcast on air with LA Balloons. Tuftex is known for their high-quality balloons, unique colors, and for being trendsetters in the industry.
Are you a balloon artist, own a party shop, or planning an event? If you're looking for professional products, better service, and faster shipping, then check us out at laballoons.com. We carry all of your favorite balloon brands, silk flowers, party supplies, equipment, and more.